Hey everybody, it's Dennis Wood from Cinevate.com, and we're happy to have the crew from Stillmotion here today.
And we're happy to be here.
Oh, and you should be happy because we did something very strange last night with what, 3, 4 of the Canon 5D Mark IIs?
5 actually.
5?
We had 5.
We had 5.
We can't travel with any less.
At Cinevate, most of you know us as the makers of the Brevis 35. But out of that project has come a lot of other parts. For example, the Pegasus and the heavy lifter, and a bunch of the stuff that you're going to see today. So first thing we're going to do is probably show you what Patrick is using right now, which is
this little setup here. Now this is actually what we have been shooting with for the past probably 4 months. We've got the lovely cage here, which is great for protection, mounting accessories around, and if you want to rest it up against things, you get a lot more stability. You got the mat box here, again, second handle. We choose to operate without flags because we're shooting mostly events and that kind of thing.
Steadicam.
And with Steadicam, more resistance, and as soon as they move, you're out of balance. But it also takes 4x4 filters. And then we have the new offset shoulder pad, which is great. And so the beauty of this is that we can just actually pop this shoulder pad right off, and this whole unit here flies on the Steadicam perfectly.
So it's balanced, and it's kind of the right weight for your Steadicam flyer, right? Which is what you use?
Yes, it is. Mike actually prefers the bare camera on his Pilot, and he's got, you know, absolute perfect balance with that, but the flyer supports more weight. And when you put it on the flyer, what you have is the extra weight from the mat box and cage, and it also spreads the weight out a bit, and you can get super smooth shots out of a really small camera. And when you pair that with, you know, of course, the image you can get out of the 5D, it's a very powerful combination.
In this case, the new offset shoulder mount kind of lets you adjust height. It lets you adjust the distance of the shoulder piece from here. And the important thing is that the shoulder component, it looks a little funky, it does, but it's designed to run rails in the back. And as we introduce our 12-volt power pack, it becomes really obvious how that's going to work, because you're going to run rails down your back. The power pack will sit there. And of course, if you want to remove all that stuff, it's basically a matter of loosening these guys off. And then, if everything is willing, there, slide it off, and that's your Steadicam.
Practically speaking, if you couldn't really see, all we had was 2 knobs that we released there. You've got one more quick release handle here if you want to adjust the angle to get a perfect fit. And then this, exactly like this, with the 21.4 is what I would run on the Steadicam. Now, since it's the swing away, it's very easy if we want to switch lenses. So if I'm running a different lens in the morning, all I have to do is pop this open, throw on the 24, take the shoulder pad off. We're talking so far less than a minute, and it's ready to go perfectly on the Steadicam.
And the 24 you're using, because infinity focus is at, what, about 8 to 10 feet with that lens?
We've got a bunch of reasons for using the 24. Okay. 1, it's a 1.4 lens, so you can shoot in very low light. 2, it's a wide angle, but it actually has minimal distortion, which is awesome. And then 3, the minimum focusing, or right before it goes to infinity, it's 10 feet to infinity. So if you keep everything at about 12 feet, you're perfectly in focus, and it's perfect. We love this. We have it on all of our rigs, but I think we had 3 main problems with it. 1 is this isn't really a grip. So I mean, that's a little bit awkward for us, right? 2, depending on how your camera's set up, you can run into problems taking your CF card out. It still works, and you don't have to actually adjust things, but it can take a little bit long. And 3, I mean, to take it off, if you can see here, I've actually got to take the whole thing apart. Wouldn't it be amazing if I had grips on the side, I maybe had it so I could rearrange the shape and, you know, maybe clip it off.
You can see it's kind of beat up on the sides, and that's because, you know, it's doing what it's supposed to do, is protecting the rig. And this cage, we call this the Proteus cage, is still available, but we've, this is the first time you'll ever see Medusa. Here she comes.
Oh, and, taking out Mike there.
And, well, you could, it almost like we planned it like that.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
So here what you see is the next gen cage. I put that on there, so I don't expect you to be able to take that off.
There we go.
You muscle guy.
And with some clever editing, as you can see, it took less than 5 seconds to take off.
So the idea with the Medusa is, you know, we've got the grips here, and you're able to configure them in just about any way. Tuck your elbows in, and you've got the cage. In this case, these guys have you have a lot of different ways of holding this.
Yes.
Because the Medusa is configurable, we can turn this inside out, we can rotate this forward, and you can see right now, the way we have it set, it's not at the balance point for the camera. So what we could actually do is loosen the links and move the cage forward so that it is perfectly at its balance point.
We do have our handles up here, here, and here, and here. And so for those of you that do anything like us and you're shooting events, I mean, it means obviously you can shoot like this for the majority of it, but you can also go off the hip really easy. You've got a whole bunch of different handles. You can see that that is rock solid. And you can even go up higher if you want and kind of do something like that. And again, you can see just how solid it is. Now, obviously, I've got to do a little bit of guesswork because I can't actually see my LCD. But even if I want to throw it out here, and balance it, you can see how solid that is. So you've got a lot of different options, and it allows you to just kind of, again, be spontaneous and react to your environment and shoot how you want.
We've created the mount, which you're going to have to tighten up for this to work, but you can actually get the mount out of the way. And so if you wanted to hold it into a different position or even configure this in a different way, you've got some options to get that out of the way.
So what we can do here is now, this is a prototype Medusa. So what you're going to notice is that we actually have some bolts on the back here. These will be quick release. We take the top off, and what's really cool is that you can now rearrange this. So we've got two ball joints and go into handles. Now obviously you could reposition those forward because it's not going to do much for you there, but you've got the option of handles up, side, wherever you want, and then this would just be quick release, and you can put them exactly how you like them. So I mean, essentially this is also can replace what we have here.
You can obviously see that the grips as they exist and the Medusa grips, chances are if you were buying the rig with the cage, you're going to have a lot of different options, particularly Medusa, in terms of how you configure these.
It's also much sexier compared to the old cage.
The Cinevate DSLR kit, it basically includes everything here, here, and the grips. So the follow focus, Medusa itself, and the matte box are separate parts. They're not part of that kit. But again, you see the offset, you see the camera mounted here. And the Proteus system has a lot of flexibility because if you look at the way Patrick's has mounted his camera, it's completely different from this one. And I don't know if we can get detail on that, but you'll see our Proteus short links being used. And he's got it mounted fore and aft of the cage. And in this case, what I've got is just one of our Proteus links, the camera firing out kind of like a flying V. And that gives us clearance to put all the other stuff on. And of course, the follow focus has got that single mount that, again, provides more flexibility. Yeah, so the lens with our focus ring that ships with the follow focus is actually on one of the recording cameras. But we should mention our ever growing in popularity lifetime warranty Duras follow focus, and we've done this. Now, I mean, I can do this with impunity with this rig,
that was totally shopping channel.
That was shopping channel. Look, it slices, it dices, and you can spin it too, I think.
Hey, that's how we shoot at weddings.